Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for September the 7th, 2021, vlog number 131. And I am in a different setting than I usually do. My Idiot Quilter's from. I'm not in my sewing dungeon anymore. And I'll tell you why right off the bat. This is my craft room that we're in before. Now, if you're a regular to Stephen and Walter Live, you've seen this backdrop before. But I'm getting rid of it. Yes, Walter and I have decided to invest in a long arm quilting machine. We're excited about it. In fact, we meet with the salesperson tomorrow at a local store called Whirls and Swirls with Tracy to get it all arranged. Why have we decided to buy a long arm? Well, why not? Well, you know I've talked about this for quite a while that I've wanted a long arm quilting machine, but two factors. One, price. The other one, actually, the second reason is more, has more of an influence on the decision, and that's where to place it, the room. Now, we had a spot in our rec room that's fairly open. We thought it could go there when we started to look at this. Well, let me back up a bit. Why we're doing this now? I'm a little flustered today because, as you're going to hear, I have been very, very busy since we've made this decision. More about that in a moment. So let's get back on track. So we took some measurements. Well, yeah, it would fit but they're a monstrosity, really. Long arms are great, but they're not pretty machines, really. And this stuck in basically in 1/3 of my rec room, which is a room that we entertain in when we used to be able to entertain. That's where our television set is, our furniture. I don't want that in there. It just doesn't go with the decor. And, it would always be this big looming thing sitting there. Yeah. So, no. So, we also got thinking about the money and the whole bit, and we just decided this was not the right time to buy. That was last week. Things can change in a few days. So, merrily along we went, and 2 days later, Walter's a planner and a thinker. He's up until the wee hours of the morning, whereas I'm a morning person. I go to bed early, relatively speaking. So he writes me an email, which he often does when he's been thinking about things, so he'll remember the next day what to tell me that he's thought about. And basically, he thought we should go ahead with purchasing the long arm because he felt we could get it into what is right now his workshop, my sewing dungeon. Of course, this would mean major decluttering, major cleanup, major reorganizing. But we took some measurements again. We thought about it carefully. We looked at our finances and we decided, yes, we could make this work. So we are. And this is why right now I'm a little discombobulated. There's a word for you. And why I'm doing this Idiot Quilter on a different computer system in a different room. My sewing room is now being hacked up. Things are getting piled up, getting decluttered, cleaned up. I am moving my sewing room into this room. That means I'm getting rid of all of my old papercraft stuff because I don't do it anymore. And when I say get rid of it, I have arranged to donate a lot of it to my friends who still do this. In fact, I have got appointments this week. I had to book people in to take a look at what I have to offer, and they've told them to bring lots of bags and to stock up. I'm not married to this stuff anymore. Much of it I have not used in literally years, and so I'm cleaning up, and I'm going to redesign this whole room as my sewing room. Now, my original plan was that I was someday going to gut this room completely. Like everything off the walls, repaint, get rid of the carpeting, retile, all that kind of stuff. That was going to cost a lot of major bucks. And on the rate was dropping like basically $22,000 on a long arm. Yeah, okay. We're not made of money. We're careful with our money, but we're not made of money. So I'm going to repurpose the existing furnishings I also bought some more stuff at IKEA. We went over on Sunday. I'd ordered online, did a click and pick as they have, and got another IKEA table and more IKEA Alex drawers, which, along with what I already have in my sewing dungeon, will become my new sewing table, cutting table, and embroidery table. And I have planned out this whole room into basically areas. And that's what I'm working on, one area at a time to get it decluttered, reorganized, and move my stuff in. Now, I don't want my sewing machine to be down for any length of time. So my first priority is getting that center section of the room set up. You can only see a piece of it right here as a box. This over here is my craft bench. And let's see if I can just turn the camera so you can see a little bit. So there you go. Okay, this is my craft room. I have cleaned off that center bench. That was my craft bench. And that whole stuff is going in the next 2 days. I have one of the ladies in my art journaling group who wants all that furniture, and that's great. I am happy to donate this to nice homes where it'll be get reloved, reused. Okay, so that is where my sewing table or my cutting table, my sewing table, and my embroidery table will all go. God, I'm so out of it today. It was a busy day yesterday organizing things. So bear with me, please. Also, this format that I'm doing this in is a little strange to me, too, for this. So, okay, enough excuses. So, anyways, long story short, I'm doing it. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to be a lot of reorganizing, and the end result is going to be worth it. And I am going to document the stages of this, and I'll put together a special video showing the beginnings and right to the end of what I end up with. And that'll come out whenever I get it done. And I'm hoping this is not going to take forever. Of course, you know, when you start doing something like this, a major job, other things get in your way as well. Like both of my 3D printers are down right now, and you know how that bothers me. One of them I had to buy a new power supply for. I got that yesterday. I have to install it. The other one's got a clog. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, if you want to hear the stories about that, just go to the vlog. My vlog from yesterday, I did my little weepy story about all of that there. Also in the vlog, as a matter of fact, so I'm not going to put it into this one, I did do a video showing my craft room and talked about my plans for the sewing room. So if you're interested in that, just see the vlog. Okay, so that's what's the big news right now. Okay, the other big news, and you've probably already heard this if you saw Stephen and Walter live this week or you saw So Chatty last week, then you've already heard about this. I am having my retreat, the Idiot Quilter Retreat. It will be on September the 24th and September the 25th. September 25th is a Saturday. That's the main retreat day. It'll run from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry to you folks that live out in the West Coast and you're 3 hours different from me. It'll be 6 o'clock in the morning when it starts. But this retreat is a come and go. You do not need to pre-register for it. It is absolutely free. It's going to be run sort of like Craft and Chat, but I do have some special presentations and a tutorial lined up for it as well. Now, the details for the retreat. Oh, and by the way, September 24th, I said September 24th and 25th. The 24th, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is a ice-breaking cocktail party. For all of you who are coming to the retreat, we're going to get together. If you wish, if you're free, bring a beverage of your choice, bring a snack, bring something to show, something you're proud of. We'll have a little mini trunk show. We might play a game or two. I'm going to do a little mini trunk show as well. Maybe even be able to give a tour, a live tour of my new sewing room, if I have it done by then. Not sure if that will happen or not. Anyways, it's just for fun that night because a lot of people don't know the other people that are going to be at the retreat. So I thought this might be a fun way to kick it off. And then, of course, the next day we have the retreat proper. All of the details about this are in a link in the show notes. It's called the Idiot Quilter Retreat FAQ. I have created a PDF document that gives you all the details about everything. I also am If you want to do the sew along with me, there's a list of the materials that you need for that. It's very simple. We're making a fabric star, Christmas fabric star, and it can be translated in paper as well. And all the instructions for that, well, at least in terms of the materials you need for it, are all in that document as well. So are the Zoom links for both the cocktail party and for the retreat itself. But I've also put the links for both of those things in my show notes below. So all that is there. Just go to the show notes and you'll find it. Okay, do I need to say anything more about that? Oh yes, one other thing. Now, even though I don't have pre-registration for this, it's come and go as you please. I am asking, if you get a chance and you know you're coming, to drop me an email just stating your name, first and last, please, and that you're planning to attend. That way I'll have some idea of how many to expect. I can handle 95 people. I may only have 2 people. I may have 195. But I could only handle 95. In the retreat I did last spring, I set up a pre-registration system and I set up a waiting list. That worked out okay, but it was a lot of work. And right now, as I've told you, as you can imagine, I am trying to keep things a little bit more simple. Oh, there will be prizes, by the way. Okay, even not the same as last time. All those details are in that link to the Google Drive for the PDF file. So what was I talking about? Coffee. I'm so mixed up today. Okay. Yeah. I guess that's all I wanted to. Oh yeah, the other thing about the retreat is, so if you send me that information, just your name and that saying I'm coming on to the retreat, I'll put you in my list. That'll give me an idea of how many people are coming. And I do recommend, though, because the last time I had a really great number of people, I had to have a waiting list, as I've already said. So this will be on a first come, first serve basis. So I will open it up probably about 15 minutes before 9 o'clock. So at 8:45 a.m. on September 25th, there'll be a waiting room and I'll let you in as you come in. And yeah, if you're not there when I fill up to 95, then you can check throughout the day to see if some people have dropped out or whatever. But I guess what I'm saying is, if you really want to come to the retreat, be there when it starts. Sorry, but that's the best I can do right now. Okay? So, all right, enough about that. If you have any questions, though, please feel free to email me. My email link is always in the show notes as well. Okay, let's get on with the proper show, shall we? So, current projects. So, I'm working on these little guys. These are my freestanding gnomes. And these are going to go onto my Christmas cards that I'm going to include with my little packages for my ladies at Ultimate Sewing at Christmas time. They'll be able to detach it from the card face, and you see there's a little eyelet at the top, so you can hang it from your tree, you can hang it from a gift, you can hang it wherever you like. So these are fun. I'm working on those. I am also working on Christmas mug rugs. And this is one right here. Now, this one's difficult to see on camera, but there is embroidery all in the center of this. It's like a quilt, and it's supposed to be Santa Claus. It's not showing up on camera very well, but it is there. That's the back of it. So I've got a bunch of these to make, as if I didn't have anything else to do, right? I still have to layer and quilt and bind the 2 Christmas quilts that I have pieced as well. Maybe I'll be able to use my new long arm machine, depending on, I have no idea what the delivery date's going to be like this. I imagine it's going to take a few weeks because they probably have to order it from APQS in the States. And that's fine because I need the time to get everything ready for its arrival. Okay, so I digress to that again. So that's what I've been working on there, as well as everything else. So I did buy an embroidery design from a company called Embroidery by Edith Ann. I was doing a search for Christmas mug rugs, and I wanted to see what was out there. I could have gone to my usual spots and picked one up. Actually, that's what I ended up doing. But I did find this site in my search, and she had tons of different types of mug rugs. and the prices were really reasonable. I think it worked out to about $6.39 for one of the patterns that I was looking at in Canadian funds. So I went ahead, paid for it, bought it, and downloaded it, and tried to use it. Now I say try. The instructions were horrible. They were all mixed up. It was like they were for some other project. Now, luckily, I'm an experienced in the hoop embroiderer, so I was able to work around those. But there were some things I couldn't work around. It kept breaking my thread. Not user error. My machine was clean. I had a new needle in the whole bit. You know, I'm not an amateur. You know that when it comes to those kind of things. So I just finally gave up on it. I got very frustrated. Um, so I thought, well, I'm going to write to the company. I'll probably not get a reply. I wrote a very nice email. I was very polite and understanding, and I basically told them what I just told you, the problems. The instructions were all screwed up. It was breaking threads on one certain way of doing things, you know. And I said, you know, if I had been a rank beginner, I would have been extremely frustrated. I didn't expect to hear anything back from them. Well, within a few hours, I got an answer back from who I'm assuming is Edith Ann. And she apologized profusely for the experience. She said yes, she took a look at those instructions, and there were parts in those instructions that should have been deleted because they used another set of instructions as a template for it. And she apologized for that. And I mentioned about testing her patterns, and she says she does test them. But she used to test them personally, but now she has somebody who tests them for her, and she was going to check into that. And in the meantime, she refunded my purchase price and offered me a free design if I wanted it. Now, I haven't taken advantage of the free design yet, but I thought that was really good customer service, good customer relations. So I am not saying anything negative really about Embroidery by Edith Ann. I'm just letting you know if you come to that site, um, you know, and if you have a problem, reach out to her, let her know, she'll make it right. So yeah, I will go back again because she had a lot of interesting stuff on there. So I just got one that was the fluke. And that's the nature of my personality. Anyways, if there's a lemon to be had out there, I will find the lemon. So, okay, moving on. I bought some things at Ultimate Sewing. I needed some more Christmas fabric for all these projects, so I bought that. I'm not going to show it to you because it's the same fabric as I had before. But while I was in there, I looked for a couple of things, not thinking they would have them. I should know better. Ultimate Sewing always has whatever I need. So I had seen this pattern being demoed on, get the glare off, the quilt show. It's called the Braided Twist. It's a table runner, but it's very unique and hard for me to explain to you how this works. But there's a method for putting this together where these center pieces all flip over, and this is reversible. But you do need a special ruler. So I found the pattern at Ultimate Sewing, and it comes with the special ruler. Now, I haven't opened this up yet, and I was going to do an unboxing today of this and the whole bit and show you the pattern for it. But one, it is a commercial pattern, so it's not original to me, so I'd be violating copyright if I showed you too much of it. And two, because I'm in this environment, I don't have the space to lay it all out. But I will show you the end product someday, down the road, whenever that is. I don't know. Depends on when I get things done. Also, I picked this up. This is a Deb Tucker's. It's called the Corner Beam ruler. There's that glare again. I forget whose YouTube channel it was, but they had done one of these quilts using this ruler, and they made this block, and the way they set the blocks in the quilt, it was really, really cool. So I went looking for the ruler, found it on Amazon, and they wanted an astronomical price for it. So I thought, no, I'll hold off. I've got enough projects right now to work on. So I went into Ultimate Sewing, and I, looked around there, and guess what? They had it. So I got it. Again, still in the plastic. Haven't opened this up yet. I will eventually. So those are a couple of things that I got. So in future videos, I will show you how I use them. Again, when I get my sewing room back together. Okay, today's demo, again, I apologize if I was in the other room, but it's a mess. I would have been able to have done this a little bit better, but I have done a review and a little video showing you how to use this electric seam ripper. Now, I told you in that uh, explanation that basically what this is a hair trimmer. Okay, that's all it is, just a hair trimmer. And it works like a charm. I love it. If you've got a long row of stitches to rip out, this thing works great. The teeth are small enough that they only catch the threads. They do not catch your fabric or rip the fabric or cut into it. And it is a dream. It's also great if you've got a bird's nest on the back of something, especially in embroidery. You can shave that all right down. So I love this little device. But I bought this little device at Ultimate Sewing at the time, and I think it was about 25 bucks when I bought it there. You can get one of these on Amazon for around 15 bucks. However, I was in the dollar store the other day, and look what I found for $4 Canadian. This is a touch-up trimmer. It comes with these extra blades for, hair, but I have opened it already. It is exactly the same as this one. No difference. Okay? Except $25, $4. And takes one battery and away it goes. Just like this one. Ooh. Okay, enough playing. I'm trying to make a song. Anyways, yeah. So I don't know, it's hit and miss in dollar stores what you'll find there, and depending on your area. But take a look. Take a look in the section. I think I found it in the section where they sell, soaps and toothpaste and stuff like that, cosmetics. And for $4, I figured I'll pick it up, try it, see if it works. It does. So I have two of them now. Do I need to? No, but I have two. And I just couldn't resist it at that price. Okay, so what's that taking me to now? Notes. Yeah, okay, let's just go over what's in the resource list this week in the show notes. Of course, I am asking you again, I need some pictures of quilts and things like that to show, to feature on here. I think I have enough that'll take me into October now, but, I can always use more. So, that's all in the show notes, how to do that. Interviews. I've got some more interviews lined up. I've got an interview for this week that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. A really fascinating one. But, if you want to be interviewed or you know somebody I should interview, send me your contact information via email or theirs and whatever, and I'll put everything into place. I've already mentioned the fact that there's the Idiot Quilter Retreat linked to an FAQ, it's called, and that's the PDF document that tells you everything you need to know. And then there's links to both the Zoom link for the cocktail party on the 24th and to the retreat on the 25th. And I will keep all three of those links in the show notes up until and after the retreat happens. So they'll always be there for you. And in fact, I'll have these three links in everything I put up from now until the 25th of September. So they'll be there in my vlog. They'll be there in the Idiot Quilter, in So Chatty, and in Stephen and Walter Live. So lots of opportunity for you to, get that information. I have a link to So Clever, which is the web quilts. It's not actually a quilt store, as you're going to find out later, but it is a very useful website. And I have a link to the pattern of the week, to the YouTube channel of the week, to the interview of the week, to So Chatty from last week, where actually basically Walter and I interviewed each other using the questions I use for my interviews with other people. And the links to all my favorite quilt stores and supply places. So it's all there. So that takes us to the YouTube channel of the week. It's called Tail Handmade. I'm not really sure about that name. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But basically, it is a YouTube channel full of all kinds of sewing tips and tricks. So I'm going to insert that for you right here, right now. This week's YouTube channel of the week is one full of helpful tips for things that you can use around your house to help you with your sewing. It's called Tail Handmade. That's not an easy title to say, and I'm not really sure why they call it Tail Handmade. But if we look around here, let's go to their homepage. You can see they've got sewing tips and tricks. And probably best way to look at this is let's take a look at their playlist. Well, not much in their playlist, but in the videos they have things on 4 clever sewing tips and tricks that you need to see, tricks you should know. I'm not too thrilled with the way that they have labeled these, like tips to know. Well, how do you know what they're going to be talking about? Let's click on this one and just see what we have here. 5 clever, oops, I went down too far. 5 clever sewing tips and tricks that you should know. Sewing technique for beginners 22. So I guess really what you have to do is sort of explore this. There's seam finishes, collars, things for beginners. Yeah, a whole lot of things. Now, I just recently discovered this and I checked this one out, and she does some very interesting things with a piece of plastic actually for making seam binding. Now I'm just wondering what she says about herself here. Welcome to Tail Handmade channel. Here you can learn to sew by yourself easily with tips and tricks. Thank you so much. Please subscribe my channel. Well, you know, that doesn't tell us a lot, does it? But that doesn't mean you shouldn't check it out, because there may be some tips and tricks here that will make your sewing a little bit faster and a little bit easier. It can't hurt, can it? So you might want to check out Tail Handmade. And the link for that is in the show notes below. So this is the pattern of the week. It is a Missouri Star Quilt Company pattern. And it is called the double square, what was it called? Double square table runner. Now, I have put a link to this. You can get it at Missouri Star Quilt. I think there is a fee for it. This version of it that I have came from my copy of one of the Block magazines. I can't tell you which one, but I've got the link anyways if you're interested in it. Now, what I find really interesting about this is I think this would make a really neat Christmas table runner. Will I get to that? Probably not. So here, for example, it's another picture of it. I think it would be very nice in Christmas fabrics. So yeah, I'm going to work on that at some point in time. Never mind. We'll see. So that's the pattern of the week. I keep looking down because I'm looking at my computer. I got to remember my camera's up here. Sorry. I'm still trying to get used to this. This is not the most ideal setup. I will work on that. But I'm using my Yeti microphone, and that's really good. It's a good microphone. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at my notes here. What is next? Oh, yes. Okay. I have a little teaser here for the interview this week. This is by a lady named Lauri Remin. She is the owner and operator of the site I'm going to review later on, called So Clever. And really, that name describes her very well. She is one clever lady. She designs and cuts. She has a laser cutter. She designs and cuts her own unique templates. These are templates you cannot buy anywhere else except on her site. And I have a link to her site and to her Facebook in the show notes. So it's a great interview. And Lauri just wrote to me this morning before I went on air here, saying that she is planning to come to the retreat. And so I've asked her if she wouldn't mind doing a little presentation about her templates during the retreat. And we're talking about the possibility of her offering a prize or two. We'll see more about that That hasn't been confirmed yet. So, don't hold me to it. But anyways, here's my little teaser about this week's
Speaking
interview, which I
of
think you're going to find
creations,
fascinating.
what's your favorite creation, or do you have one?
Since I was able to get my laser cutter, my favorite thing to create are templates.
Okay, and so are you talking acrylic templates?
Yep.
And with the laser cutter. So that's very interesting because I love machines. I have a couple of
Oh,
3D printers and I have been looking at the laser cutters too. So, yeah, so tell me just what kind did you get? Because this is almost for me.
well, to make, I'll skip over a lot of detail, but um, we decided to go to church on a Sunday at Christmas time, and my son was having a baby with his girlfriend, and so we went to church, and this couple that we never sat with us, and I opened up the bulletin, and it said, if you want to go to the grandma's prayer group, talk to the lady who sat right beside me. So I said, Bonnie, I'm going to be a grandma, and I'm going to need all the prayer I can get. So where do I sign up? And so I went in January, and um, I told the ladies there that I wanted to make acrylic templates, but I needed somebody with a laser cutter to cut my designs for me. And so one lady that was there, of course, was the lady that I sat beside. Another lady I'd seen at church, but never really talked to. And another lady that I'd never even met. And she said, oh, my son-in-law in Sherwood Park, which is not far from Edmonton, has a laser cutter he's looking to cut things for.
Okay.
And then I went to retreat in March. I'd gone out and cut a couple things. And then when I went to a quilting retreat here in March, I was looking through my phone and I was saying to this lady who was sitting behind me, gee, it would really be nice when I have my own laser cutter. And then I can cut 3 o'clock in the morning, whenever I want. And as I was scrolling through my emails, this guy emailed me and said, well, I think I should be spending more time with my family. And so I am not going to be doing this anymore. And I thought, oh, great. Now I'm on a hunt again, right?
Great.
And his next paragraph said, so do you want to buy my laser cutter? So by April, I had his laser cutter. So
And that takes me to the quilt of the week. My quilt of the week, that is. Wait, sorry, did I skip something? Uh, just checking my notes here. Oh God, I'm all over the place today. So sorry about this. Let's see. I think I skipped something because I do have a quilt. Why do I not have it in my notes? Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Out of order. Okay. I have a quilt of the week from a subscriber. This is somebody who is not a mystery person to us. We all know Jean Eubanks. She has shown us some of her great creations before, and she's got another one that she's showing us this week. So, without further ado, here's
This
Jeannie's
week's quilt
latest
comes from
creation.
Jean Eubanks, and Jean Eubanks is no stranger to the Idiot Quilter. Jean has been a long time subscriber, I think since almost day one of when I started the Idiot Quilter. And she is somebody that I have come to call a friend, although we have never really met in person. But she says, here is the quilt I made for Andy's dog, Mitzi. Andy is also, as she has said, is her sister. And Andy is also a longtime subscriber, and we've seen some of her beautiful creations as well. She goes on to say, Jean says, it's a scrap quilt using Bonnie Hunter's 2020 Leader and Ender Challenge block. Easy breezy. I mostly made this quilt during our craft and chat since March. It's my second attempt at free motion meandering quilting. Well, I think you did a really good job on this, Jeannie. And I love the colors. And as you said, it's all leaders and enders, which make up the blocks that are here. It's very nice. Although Mitzi is really, really cute, I think this quilt is really too good for a dog. But then again, our pets are our children, are they not? So thanks, Jean, for sending that to me.
Now, that takes me to one of my quilts that I'm going to critique. This is actually a quilt that I made for a friend who wanted to commission me to make a quilt for his living room, for his couch. Of course, he's a good friend. I said, you don't need to pay me for it. I will make you one. And I had the perfect pattern for it. So I'm going to talk about that now.
This week's quilt of my own that I wish to critique is called Tim Holtz quilt. Why do I call it Tim Holtz quilt? Because I made it from Tim Holtz fabric. Now, there's a story behind this quilt. Was visiting some friends in Toronto back a couple of years ago now, pre-COVID, of course. And my one friend said to me he would like to commission me to make him a quilt for his sofa. Now, this friend of mine collects Victorian antiques, and his style is very much the style that Tim Holtz reflects in his fabrics. It's got that distressed, vintage, old-fashioned look to it. So I knew immediately when he asked me for this quilt what I was going to do, because this was actually a kit. I had bought this kit at a show back probably a year or so before then, and I had never gotten around to putting it together. So when he mentioned that he wanted a quilt, he wanted to commission me to make a quilt, I immediately thought of this quilt, and it gave me an excuse to make the kit. Now, of course, because he's such a good friend, he offered to pay for it, and he knows what the value of a quilt is. But I said, no way, I'll be glad to make you one, and I have the perfect quilt for you. So this was the quilt that I created. Now, it's a herringbone pattern, and I have to admit I did have some problems with getting things lined up. I did a lot of ripping out on this quilt before I got it right, and this was early in my quilting career. So, you know, if I was to make this kit today, I would make it a lot more accurate than I did this time. And what I mean is, if you look up in where some of these pieces intersect each other, you'll notice they're a little bit off. But really, who's going to notice that? So I created this quilt, and I gave it to him about 6 months later or so, and he loved it, absolutely loved it. And it goes really nice with his decor. As I said, he's very much into antiques and the Victorian look of things. So this worked out really well. And I guess this is probably my very first quilt that I was ever commissioned, in quotation marks, to do. And it's my very first quilt that I ever actually gave to someone as well. So I'm very pleased, even though it has a few minor little errors in it. I'm very pleased how it turned out, and he just wrote to me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and mentioned the quilt again and how much he still loves it. So that makes me feel very good.
So, as I mentioned, Lauri, who I interviewed, has her own online store to sell her templates, and she sells other things too as well. And it's called So Clever. And I did a review. I thought it was a good idea, since I was interviewing her this week, that I should review her website as well. So here it is.
This week's quilt store of the week is actually not so much a quilt store as a store, online store, that sells accessories for making bags and for cutting different shapes of blocks, and it's basically a template store. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I just recently, as you know, interviewed Lauri Remin, who is the owner and operator of SoClever.ca. And it's a fascinating interview if you haven't seen it yet. She talks about her process for making very unique templates. These are templates that you cannot find anywhere else except on her website. If you see here, she has placement guides, she has face mask templates, she has laser cut mask kits and fabrics, and she does do a lot of laser cutting. In fact, that's the basis for her business. And if you watch the interview, she does talk about this process and what makes her templates very unique. She also has templates for long arm and domestic quilting rulers, which are made from acrylic that she also cuts, and she has designed herself. And they are very unique in style. She has another set of templates, again, what she just talked about in her interview, that she doesn't have on the website yet, but is going to have them up there soon, for making bags, like for cutting the corners on bags, which makes life so much easier. I'm absolutely fascinated with what she has. I think she's a very creative individual, and she's definitely found a niche that nobody else has. If we go to Emmeline Bags, you can see here that what she has done is she's created templates for a couple of the very, very popular Emmeline bag patterns. She has the retreat bag, which is one that myself, I have this pattern, but she has templates for them, a set of templates, which is going to make your life so much easier, especially if you're going to make a number of these bags, if you're giving them as gifts. The same with the necessary clutch wallet. Again, she has all the templates for this. It's going to make your life so much easier when you're creating these. I don't think her prices uh, are expensive. I think they're very, very reasonable. And she has some unique properties in some of these templates. As she was explaining to me with the ones that she has created for making bags, for the corners of the bags, she actually has put in a slot so that your rotary cutter goes a little bit beyond the template itself, so you have a nice clean cut. You know, usually when you're doing it with a rotary cutter, you always leave a little bit still attached, and you have to get in there with the rotary cutter or your scissors to cut that away. Well, she's thought about that in the design for her templates. If we take a look at her scrap busters as well, she has all kinds of templates here as well for using up those little bits and pieces for making very quick projects. She has a folding box, she has a dress towel template, a fold over towel holder, a wine bottle apron, scissor holder. These are things you can't find templates for anywhere else. And I'm especially proud of her because she is a Canadian. And this is showing Canadian ingenuity and creativity at its finest, I think. Again, there's another one for a cup cozy, a dog bandana, and she's constantly adding to her supply of templates. She is going to also offer kits, I believe, made up of scraps that she laser cuts. So they'll all be very, very precisely done. Now, here is something that's also very interesting about her website. Did you know that she has a lot of very useful tips? For example, she did talk about one in the interview I did with her, and I'm just seeing if I can find that one here. I don't see it here, but she had one that I thought was genius. It wasn't just for crafters or for quilters, it was for everybody. And basically, it's how do you get a power bar if you want to mount it to something, line up the holes for the screws. And she had a great tip for putting a piece of painter's tape on the back of the power bar, marking where the screw holes are located, then peeling that painter's tape off and resticking it to whatever surface it is that you want to attach the power bar to. Easy peasy. Something so simple but so great. Let's take a look at this measuring cup. She says she purchased a 4-piece measuring cup set from a local dollar store. I only required the half cup for measuring our dog food, but I did have a use for the other measuring cup pieces. I needed a container to move my pins around that would be handy. My resolution, the 1-cup measuring cup. I added a magnetic magnet inside and on the bottom to keep the inside one in place. Easy enough to hold several pins, a handle to hang on to, so I'm able to move them easily, and the handle sits under my sewing machine nicely for removing and placing pins back in while sewing. The other measuring cups I've used for cut threads at my machine or on the end of a table while watching TV. What an ingenious idea. Really. Who would have thought? Well, she did. She thought of it. So this is definitely a website worth visiting for several reasons, as you can see. So you may want to check out and support Lauri's soclever.ca website.
So that brings me to the end of this edition of the Idiot Quilter. Just a reminder about the retreat and everything. And I've told you where the links are for all of that and the information. If you have any questions, email me. And I have to apologize. I have felt that this presentation today has not been up to my usual standard, that I'm all over the place. And I think you can understand why. I have a lot of things going on in my mind right now. I feel a little overwhelmed with everything I need to do to get ready for the big long arm that's coming, but I will get it all settled out. So please bear with me. And thank you for joining me today. And we will have an episode of So Chatty later this week on Friday. And on that one, we're going to handle questions that have come from viewers. So if you have any questions you'd like us to deal with, if you can get them to us before Friday, just send them to my email account. We'd be happy to talk about whatever it is you want us to talk about or to answer in terms of questions. Okay, I'm muddling again. I'm running off. Okay. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great life. Talk to you again next week. Bye bye.